Hello and welcome back to Lauren's Legends. Today we will be covering some of the creepiest urban legends these next 5 states have to offer. From hotbeds of paranormal activity and a portal to the underworld to cannibalistic cryptids, these legends certainly do not disappoint. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. Up first is Indiana, and we are going to the Culbertson Mansion. Located in historic downtown New Albany, Indiana, the Culbertson Mansion is one of the most well-preserved homes in the United States. Built in 1869 by the richest man in Indiana at the time, William Culbertson, the mansion is said to have a dark and tragic history. Legend has it that in the 1800s, the mansion was struck by lightning, sparking a fire and killing everyone inside. Fast forward to 1933, when Dr. Webb purchased the mansion and moved in with his family. Just a year later, the entire family was found dead. Their bodies appear to have undergone severe torture, resulting in extremely unpleasant and gruesome deaths. In a shocking discovery, authorities realized the doctor had been hiding patients in his basement. The extensive wounds on their bodies suggested he had been experimenting on them. Then, in the 1970s, the 20,000 square foot home was in danger of being bought out and turned into a gas station by an oil company. Looking to preserve the history, a local businessman bought the house. It was restored and turned into a museum for local history. When the restoration began, so did the stories of the paranormal events. The mansion, now a successful tourist attraction, has been filled with unexplainable activity for decades. Generations of people believe the house has been inhabited by spirits. So much so, the staff has been keeping a file of every strange occurrence since 1977. Some visitors claim to have seen puffs of smoke with a lingering, unmistakable cigar scent, despite no one smoking nearby. Others have witnessed electrical phenomenons, lights flipping on and off, shadowy figures walking by, strange noises, and items going missing. One seeing eye dog was even barking at the Culbertsons' punishment closet, a time-out room for the kids, and bolted away from it, refusing to go in. A couple of decades ago, there was a police officer who responded to an alarm going off in the house in the middle of the night. He met the guard at the time for a walkthrough, and upon leaving, the police officer said, "Well, are you going to go in and get her? Are we going to leave her in there?" The guard responded puzzled and asked what the officer meant, assuring him that they were the only 2 people there. That officer refused to ever respond to calls at the Culbertson Mansion from that point forward. Even some past volunteers and staff members have been so on edge about things they've seen, felt, or heard, they've quit and refused to return to work over the unexplained experiences, even sometimes leaving their possessions there, where their co-workers would then take them to their house and give them to them later. More recent, in 2018, a couple of paranormal researchers visited the mansion and reported a strange mist on the 2nd floor, a cold spot on the 3rd floor, and a voice on an EVP seemingly saying, "Where are you going?" One of the investigators present stated she felt a hand pressing on her back. From the murders in the 1800s and the torture resulting in deaths in the 1930s to the strange experiences that have been reported to this day, do you think you have what it takes to spend a night in this hotspot for paranormal activity? Personally, I'm going to pass on sleeping here. Next up is Iowa, and we are talking about the Van Meter visitor. Our next legend was spotted in the skies of Van Meter, Iowa, over the course of several nights in 1903. It has been described as a half-human, half-animal with enormous smooth wings and about 9 feet tall, excluding a horrendous memory-erasing stench. I've never heard of a stench being described as memory erasing, so it must have been really bad. While it is moving at speeds never seen before and shooting a blinding light from its horned head. Iowa had 5 action-packed nights in 1903, beginning when 2 men of Van Meter saw the creature in the night sky and didn't hesitate to shoot at it. According to them, it shrugged off the shots with ease. The very next night, the town doctor and bank cashier saw the creature separately and both took aim. The cashier claimed to have taken a plaster cast of the great 3-toed tracks to show others. The following night, yet another man was awakened to see the creature perching on a telephone pole. Terrified, he grabbed his rifle and shot it as well, to no avail. This commotion awakened a store owner nearby who also got a good look at the creature. He specifically mentioned the way it hopped like a kangaroo. A local high school teacher who spotted it thought it must be a biblical monster of some kind. After the sightings, the men gathered with the intention of removing this unknown creature from existence. When a noise was heard near an abandoned coal mine, the men charged. Presently, the noise opened up again, as though Satan and a regiment of imps were coming forth for battle. That was stated in an article in the Des Moines Daily News on October 3rd, 1903. The monster, now joined by a smaller version of itself, is it bad that I think even monster babies are cute? Anyways, appeared to the men. The 2 soared away to escape the crowd and returned the next morning, greeted by the town's army of men who were lighting up the sky with bullets. Again, the hailstorm of bullets had no effect on the creature. Aside from an unearthly noise and a particular odor, they did not seem to mind it, but slowly descended the shaft of the old mine. That would be the last time the creatures were ever seen, because upon the creature's descent, the men sealed the mine, effectively trapping the creatures forever. A man by the name of Chad Lewis became enamored with this story, mainly because of the men that were extremely reputable had made these claims, stood nothing to gain, and in fact likely wouldn't want the attention. Intrigued, he did some investigating. Lewis traveled to Van Meter and with the help of the local librarian Jelena Walker, discovered the legend had survived the generations in the town's Sentinel book. Jolene stated, "Old-timers remember it, though their opinions of its authenticity vary." According to Lewis, people still report seeing the creatures today. In the 80s, a man that was new to the area and unaware of the legend reportedly saw a giant bat-like creature fly over his head as he walked near the coal mine. In the 2000s, a man and his family, while driving home to Van Meter, saw what he described as a giant bird-like creature on the side of the road. When they doubled back to investigate, the creature was gone. In 2006, a pastor saw what he thought was a dragon in the sky in Colfax, Iowa. Upon returning home, he curiously Googled Iowa dragon and realized what he had spotted was the Van Meter visitor. Most recently, in 2020, in Boone, Iowa, an individual reported seeing the giant bird, stating, "When it flapped its huge wings, all I could see was light, dark, and it was a huge whoosh, whoosh, whoosh that I heard." There is a long history of beliefs in giants. particularly in North America, and among some Native American populations, said Zora Zimmerman, who has taught folklore classes at Iowa State University. A legend has a cycle, usually starting with very real eyewitness accounts that may be true, but are unexplained, so the legend grows. I don't know about you, but this legend reminds me of the giant winged creatures from the movie Jeepers Creepers. And when I watched that, I was too young to watch it, and it scared me for way too long, and I couldn't sleep. But what do you think? Do you think that there is something flying in the Iowa skies? Please let me know in the comments. So our next story is in Kansas, and it is Stull Cemetery, and it is reported to have the gates of hell. How many gates of hell is there in the world? I think they only need like 2 or 3, but they seem to be popping up everywhere. Anyways, this cemetery is located in a very small town of Stull, Kansas. On the gate hang several no trespassing signs. The cemetery is unlike any other. It is said to be associated with the devil, the occult, and a portal to the underworld. Located in the basement of an old church, this church was said to have sheltered people from rain despite missing its roof. It was mysteriously demolished in 2002 without authorization by the owner. Back when it stood, it was said that if you count more than 7 windows, you were in danger. It also appeared freshly built during this period, and no bottle thrown at the church would break, no matter how hard it was thrown. That makes me wonder how many drunk kids were out there throwing bottles at the church. How many bottles did it take to find out that none of them would break? The legends say that these stories have been linked to Stull for more than 100 years, but none of them made it into print until the 1970s. In November of 1974, an article was published claiming the area was home to demonic beings and evil entities, haunted by legends of the diabolical, supernatural happenings. The article claimed that Stull Cemetery was one of the 2 places on Earth where the devil appears in person each year. According to the legend, every Halloween night, an endless stairway opens up on the earth, exposing one of the 7 gateways to hell. I'm telling you, there's more than 7 of them. Anyways, the devil himself appears in the cemetery, sometimes dragging people down to the underworld. Visitors flock to the Stull Cemetery every Halloween, hoping to catch a glimpse of the devil. Y'all need better goals. The legend has gotten more incredible with time, including stories of the wind switching direction and blowing the wrong way, spirits returning home from the grave, and vehicles moving on their own. One of the strangest parts of this legend is the claim that the Pope absolutely refused to fly over Stull due to the activity there. Time magazine published an article in the 1990s claiming Pope John Paul II ordered his private jet to fly around eastern Kansas while on his way to a public appearance in Colorado. The reason? Allegedly, the Pope did not want to fly over unholy ground. Oddly, in 2016, the cemetery was burning. Random patches of the ground were smoldering and smoking. What do you think? Was a gate to hell actually on fire? And would you join the masses of people who still visit Stull Cemetery each Halloween, actively looking to experience seeing the devil? I'm out. Y'all have fun. Let me know how it goes. Take pictures. I'm out. Our next state is Kentucky, and its legend is the Narrow Roads Phantom Cop. Narrow Roads in Erlanger, Kentucky is supposedly home to a ghostly police officer who may just pull you over. Legend has it that in the 1950s, an officer was tragically and accidentally struck and killed by a passing car during a traffic stop. Now, around midnight, legend says police cruiser from the 1950s will pull you over, according to some versions of the legend. The officer will come to your car after stopping you, speak to you, then walk away, disappearing into the darkness. Other versions say he disappears before reaching the driver's side door. According to one eyewitness account, in 1995 and 1996, this happened to me with a group of friends. The car was not from the 50s though, more like the 70s or the 80s. All the cop cars in this area had call 911 and an emergency stickers on them. This one didn't. Another eyewitness stated, I have seen me and my dude went on Halloween night and we were driving on Narrows Road around 1 a.m. and the car appeared behind us and followed us. After 5 minutes, it disappeared out of nowhere and we freaked out and never again will we go down that road. That's just how I picture how that guy was talking. I had to correct it a little bit to make it where I could read it. So what do you think? Is a lingering spirit of a cop haunting this road in Kentucky, or is it purely made up? And if he comes to your car and talks to you, does he walk away with your license? Do you get it back? Please let me know. Y'all, Louisiana's cool. I want to try their food. I'm not going to lie. After researching these, kind of scares me a little bit. You guys have urban legends out the wazoo. It was really hard to choose one. So I went with one that I had never heard before, and it's still really creepy, and that is the Grunch. Not the Grinch, it's with a U. Also, while I was looking through all the urban legends, I found out that Louisiana actually does have the most urban legends than any other state in the US. And so this one, the Grunch, has several legends attached to it. According to some, the Grunch is an inbred clan of an albino dwarf people who live in the woods and eat goats and humans. If you've seen the movie Wrong Turn, you know exactly what I am talking about. This group of people is a product of isolation and a rumored deal with the devil for protection. Sadly, the albino dwarfs were forced to live on the outskirts of town. According to the legend, due to the seclusion, they are so inbred they are almost unrecognizable as humans. Cannibalism does that to you. According to others, the Grunch is a deadly monster and a demon of New Orleans, described as having the legs and the head of a goat and the size of a large man. The Grunch is said to hide in the tall grass and feed on the blood of the goats and humans. With sharp teeth and long, sharp claws, he is said to have ripped his victims open. The first known sighting of the Grunch dates back to the 1800s, with heightened activity following Hurricane Katrina. Some attribute this to the fact that Hurricane Katrina displaced the Grunch from their homes, forcing them out into the open. Of course, this wouldn't be a proper New Orleans legend without some voodoo mixed in. The origins of the Grunch involved voodoo priestess Marie Laveau, famous herbalist of the 1800s, who accidentally created the Grunch after castrating the devil baby in order to stop it from reproducing. His testicles fell off, turning into a male and a female Grunch. This is the legend, y'all. You can look it up. The pair attacked Marie, nearly killing her, before escaping into the night to feast upon generations of New Orleans right down Grunch Road. Interestingly, if you do a Google search for Grunch Road in New Orleans, you won't find any results. Grunch Road is believed to have existed in the city of New Orleans at some point, made of shells and dirt from the Mississippi River and the Gulf of Mexico. However, there's been some dispute about where this legendary road was located. Plus, many believe that it has since been paved over and renamed. One recent supposed sighting came from a woman in Harvey, Louisiana, who claimed she saw a Grunch eating one of her neighbor's dogs. Also in Harvey, residents say they've seen it knocking over trash cans and chasing cats. Local sanitation workers have supposedly reported seeing them raiding garbage cans or chasing trucks. Whether the Grunch is the single half-human beast of the bayou or a group of inbred people, the main takeaway remains: if you see a goat on the side of the road in this area of New Orleans, mind your own business and keep driving if it appears injured. It is a ploy. Don't stop, and definitely do not get out of your car. Unless it's a baby goat. Then I'm going to get out of my car. Yeah. Have you seen how cute they are? So distracting. Anyways, what do you think about these legends? Please let me know in the comments below which one of these 5 was the most creepiest to you. I think for mine, it's the mansion and how many families passed away under such weird circumstances, and then the torture and all that kind of stuff. So please let me know your thoughts, and I appreciate you for watching. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.